All right, so let's start by building the basic version here. The first thing we need to do is create a new file. So I'm going to call mine, let me clear this out. I'm going to make a new file called, I'll just do v1.py because I know I'm going to have a v2, and I'll open that up. Okay, and let's start by just printing simple print statement that just says rock, and let's just do a couple of those. In Sublime, I'm using a shortcut to duplicate, Command-Shift-D, and we'll change this one to paper, and finally scissors. Oop. So let's just make sure, obviously there's no complex logic, but let's just make sure things are working. So that's Python 3 v1.py, and we get our 3 print statements. Okay, so now let's get our user 1. So we'll call our users or players P1 or player 1 and then player 2. So remember, we can't do one player, it has to start with a letter. So I'll go player 1 equals, and then we'll use input. So we need to start by just getting input twice. So we'll just say player 1, make your move. And I'm just going to pass a string into input rather than doing a separate print statement. And then I'll do the same thing for player 2, but change the variable name to be player 2. This will be player 2. Okay, so we can make sure that that works. Player 1 plays rock, player 2 plays paper, and nothing happens. So this is now the hard part. This is where we need to add our logic. So the way that rock, paper, scissors works, I guess I should have started out by talking about this. If you're unfamiliar with how it works, which I guess that's kind of insensitive of me to assume that all cultures, my courses are in like 200 something countries. I don't think that all of them play rock, paper, scissors. So there's these 3 moves. Rock will beat scissors, paper beats rock, and scissors beats paper. And then if there's a tie, rock versus rock, it's a draw, scissors versus scissors, and so on. So with this logic, I'm going to start with the most basic, kind of longest way of writing this, the most thorough solution. Not necessarily the best. So we have player 1. So let's say if player 1 equals rock. So we can start with that. And player 2 equals, and let's just pick scissors. So in that case, what happens? If player 1 is rock, player 2 is scissors, rock beats scissors. So then we'll just print player 1 wins. So hopefully you can see where this is going. We're going to have a bunch of these if statements or elif statements. So then we could have another elif and just do elif player 1 equals rock. So we'll keep it at rock. And player 2 this time played paper. If that's the case, we'll print player 2 wins because I need my quotes. That paper beats rock. There we go. And we could add the scenario of rock equals rock, but instead we could add an elif that just says elif player 1 equals player 2. We'll do a print, I need my colon here. Print, it's a tie. So I'll leave that one at the bottom for now. And you should also just add an else down here that just says maybe like something went wrong, because our game only works if users type in rock, paper, scissors. If they type some other character or a number or something, a sentence in, it could break our code. Well, it wouldn't break things. They wouldn't see any result. So let's add this in that just says something went wrong. Okay, so let's continue with our logic. So next, let's say if player, so we've covered all the bases if player 1 plays rock. Rock versus scissors, rock versus paper, and rock versus rock. Now let's do player 1 plays paper. And player 2 plays rock. Let's go with that. So in that case, what happens? Well, if player 1, paper versus rock, paper beats rock, so that means that player 1 wins. And let's do the next scenario where player 1 now is also paper, but this time player 2 plays scissors. I'm going to add a space here just to keep it consistent. It's not going to change how my code works. I just want to be consistent in my formatting. So if that's the case, who wins? Paper versus scissors. Player 2 wins. Okay. And why don't we just test our logic at this point? So we're still missing the scenario where player 1 plays scissors at all, but we'll get back to that. So let's test it, see if we have any syntax errors. Okay, so let's start with rock, and then player 2 will also play rock. Let's see what happens. Okay, good, it's a tie. Player 1 plays rock, player 2 plays paper, player 2 wins. Okay, so things are looking good. We just need to finish up with our logic. So next we'll have if player 1 plays scissors, and let's say player 2 plays rock. What happens in that scenario? Okay, well, rock beats scissors, so that means that player 2 wins again. And finally, we have our last scenario, which is player 1 plays scissors. I can never spell scissors. And player 2 plays paper. And in that scenario, scissors beats paper, so we print player 1 wins. So this should be our complete logic for, this is the most verbose, longest way of writing this, but it covers all of our bases. And I guess, actually, that's a lie. We could have been even more verbose and just written, if player 1 plays rock and player 2 plays rock, it's a tie. If player 1 plays scissors and player 2 plays scissors, it's a tie. But instead, we just combine them in a single line. Okay, let's make sure everything works. Let's make some space. And recall the line. All right, so let's say player 1 plays scissors, player 2 plays rock. Who should win? Player 2. This time, scissors versus paper. Player 1 wins. And let's do paper versus rock. Player 1 wins. Okay, so things are working. If you got to this point, congratulations. This is really all that we need for the base functionality of the game. In the next video, I'm going to refactor this slightly because this is kind of cumbersome in my opinion. We can actually break up these conditionals into some nested conditional statements that will make things a little cleaner in my opinion. It's just a matter of taste. So I'll show that in the next video. And then after that video, we'll have the more advanced version where we add in a random computer player. Okay.